Hey, you are along for the ride with Mad Dog and Cole. Welcome to my jungle, Feral.
Tech inspections for losers.
Stay tuned. We have some very special guests coming right up.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, welcome to episode 53. We got a goodie coming, but we cannot start without thanking Mr. Evil Knievel for those inspiring words. You don't all got to fly through the air, but you should all live in the sunlight and enjoy life.
Absolutely.
And why do we get to enjoy life, Cole?
We get to enjoy life because of the brave men and women in our armed forces, our first responders, our veterans of this country, our POWs, our MIAs, our KIAs. We owe it all to them, keeping us safe, keeping us free, letting us have fun, let us race on the weekends. Here at Along for the Ride, we thank you.
Absolutely. God bless our troops. God bless their families, and God bless America. Man, speaking about being blessed, how blessed are we to have great partners like Kicker Performance Audio? Dude, for all your marine, auto, truck, car, 12-volt, boat, sandrail, off-road, whatever you need, hit them up, kicker.com or on Instagram at Kicker Audio, or check out Kicker Unmasked Live every other Tuesday on their YouTube channel. Of course, Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear. The choice of the Mad Dog and the Colemeister. Man, where would we be without Bomber Eyewear? We did that live spot last week, and dude, you were looking pretty fly in your bombers. I was pretty stoked for you.
I mean, we would, where would be? We'd be squinting. That's where we'd be without bomber eyewear.
Absolutely. Check them out. Over 40 styles between their safety glasses and their floating sunglasses and sunglasses. And I don't even know how many different lens styles. Of course, I wear either the dark smoke polarized safety lens in a boogie bomb, but it's up to you. Whatever you want, check them out. BomberEyewear.com, on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. Of course, the Premix Podcast. Find them on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. Our man Cole sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera, and also sidelining for all your MC needs or announcer needs. He's available. Drop him a DM. That's at ThePremixPodcast on Instagram. And I had a listener text me last week and say, what does it cost to hire Cole to MC a divorce instead of a wedding? And so I told them to message you. They did say they were asking for a friend, thankfully, but you know who you are.
I think the rates will surprise you. I'm not saying which way, but the rates will surprise you.
Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film, getting all our videos produced, polished, and put together for our YouTube channel, Mad Dog Media, MAddOG'Media, and our Mad Dog Media podcast YouTube channel. Check it out on YouTube. And Hey Keeks Marketing, man, where would we be without her? All our new graphics, new designs, the new AFTR logo that we're using, all compliments of Hey Keeks Marketing. If you have anything you need from a website to a social media influencer campaign or just social media management, yell it. Hey Keeks. Find her on the web, heykeeks.com, or on Instagram at Hey Marketing. Man, I am excited for this one. It is going to be a goodie.
We have a lot of champion guests on, and tonight is no different.
Man, I told you I was excited. Fans,
Your
Aaron.
messages are always the best before races, win or lose, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love you guys. And we have Aaron and Amy, or Amy and Aaron Quintero here. And, Seth, all our fans are very familiar with Seth, and these are his creators. And
I
awesome
did grow
people.
him. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, I am so glad you guys are here. I mean, we've got a ton to cover, but it's just so good to see. I just wish I could reach through the screen and give you all a great big hug,
Oh,
Likewise.
definitely. Thanks for having us on.
Oh yeah, I think it's killer. Um, Man, I want to jump right into Vegas to Reno, and we've been alluding to this since our last podcast. Um, that we had. Matter of fact, we said we were supposed to record last week, but they didn't have the official results, and so we were all like, yeah.
Yeah.
So how stressful was that?
Mm, I wasn't too stressed. I mean, I was pretty confident in what we did, and we were pretty on top of, all the notes and all the stops and the speed zones, and we were pretty confident. But the only thing we were not confident was at one point our tracker was showing us doing 158 miles an hour, and people were going crazy messaging us. So it's like, oh boy, I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully the tracker doesn't have any glitches and give us any kind of little false penalties, but it was I don't know if I was stressed, but I was more excited for them to come out because I was pretty confident in our pretty clean wild run.
yeah. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, crawl out from under your rock and pay attention. Vegas to Reno, the longest, probably most grueling off-road race on American soil.
Yeah.
And a lot of our fans are familiar with it. We had Nick on just before he went to Sweden for a trip, and I was fortunate to pit with him. So they kind of got a lot of that Vegas to Reno story of how it can be.
Yeah.
So for all you listeners, Aaron co-drove with his now 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
20-year-old son, who is probably one of the most mature, incredible racers that I have ever met. So I know there's probably no fear in hopping in the car with a 20-year-old kid, especially, since everybody else has done it. But Mama Q, Amy,
No, thank you.
jumped in a chase truck
Yes.
by yourself,
Yeah, by myself.
chased the entire race by herself. And how many pits did you hit? I know you were all over the place.
Yeah, I skipped 1 and 2 because I was worried trying to hit those two and then get to the fuel stop was going to be a little bit difficult for me. So I actually I went to 3 and I did a visual on them at 3. And then I did 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I skipped 10 because there was no way I was going to make it to 10 and then beat them to 12
Yeah.
where their next fuel stop was supposed to be. So I skipped 10 and 11, 11 being that remote. remote pit. I would even have made it to the finish after if I went to 11. So I went from 9 to 12 and hung out there for their fuel stop and to let them, as people have seen on the video, let them know where they were at on position.
Yes.
And then I was able to make it to the finish. I got there just in the nick of time. I mean, the finish is a whole nother story. What happened with the finish, but I was able to see them come in and then hear that they had won.
Yeah, and folks, they didn't just win. Like Aaron, you guys were on a tear. When I looked at the times, the first thing I went to, I looked at the time, and I know what we finished in a stock car, in a stock class car or production class. And so I looked at the time and I'm like, good God. And immediately went to overall because I'm like, that has to be a top 20. And I think what'd you say, Cole? 11?
I think so.
Overall, yeah. Overall, first
Yeah.
overall in his class, first overall over all
All
UTVs,
UTVs.
and starting dead last because of what have happened at qualifying.
So,
Yeah, and
I think it was
I want to
11th
get into
overall.
that a little bit because Aaron, you weren't there.
No,
We have
You were
jobs.
no,
Yeah, you
I was
guys have
We have a mortgage.
that's that's what I say too. You know, Cole has a real job, so that's why we have to record in the evenings. By the way, thanks for meeting us. I guess it's not that late where you're at. I'm an hour ahead, so
Six,
um,
six,
yeah, it's
6:15.
6:15
yeah,
here.
yeah. Thank you. But okay,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
you're both at work, and I know you guys, so I know your phones are tuned in to what's going on,
Oh yeah.
and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you see the video of Seth's car literally billowing smoke.
Yeah.
Um, man, run us through that part because for those of you who don't know, in qualifying, the reason they had to start last is because in qualifying they had a fire in the car and DNQ'd qualifying.
Yeah.
Um, and so run us through that part, like from your perspectives.
That's pretty scary. I mean, I was at work operating, digging, and we're all part of a big group chat on WhatsApp, so we get live updates, play by play of what's going on, team meetings, briefings, the whole nine yards, our daily itinerary. So my phone is sitting in my lap, and I can't even concentrate at work. I can't even focus on what I'm doing because I know he's off the line. I know he's going to qualify, and we get a message T903 is off the line. So I was like, okay, well, I know it's going to be quick. So I'm like glancing at my phone and I see my phone alert me and it's Seth. And he says, car caught fire. I'm out. I'm good. 2 miles from finish. And my heart just sank.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm glad he made it brief and quick as far as saying car caught fire. That it instantly just, I mean, I froze. I couldn't even think straight. And then the next message was, I'm out, I'm okay. So that was a relief. But at the same time, we didn't exactly know what happened, what was going to happen, if we were going to race still. Like, if I should tell my boss, hey, never mind on those days off, like, I'm going to be here at work. Like, just a lot started going through my head. But thankfully, the team was able to get everything together. And, you know, it was a battery that exploded, just a freak deal, a lithium battery. It just was pissed off,
Yeah.
exploded. And as we all know, lithium fires, they're
They're pretty
pretty
gnarly.
brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
and
aggressive.
thank God for his co-pilot, that was riding with him, Tucker at the time, which is part of the pit crew, the DFR boys, and he reacted quick and slow. And Seth even said, he goes, Dad, if you were in the car, it probably would have just the whole car probably would have caught fire. No offense, but Tucker has a lot of experience and with racing trucks and a lot of, he preps a lot of trophy trucks and he reacted very quick and fought the fire from inside the car and grabbed the fire extinguisher and reacted slow but quick, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
And fought the fire from inside the car, put it out, and they tried to keep going. Tucker said, "Fire's out, keep going." So they tried to keep the car going, and then more smoke, more fire. So they called it quits and pulled over, and Tucker got out and continued to fight the fire from outside the car. And thank God he got it out, and not that much damage was done.
Yeah. Okay. So now, Mama, take us through the message you got, which was probably the same message, I'm guessing.
So at that point, I wasn't on the group chat. And so I heard it from Aaron. So I'm at work as well,
Right.
and I hear it from him, and he kept it calm, like he didn't really say too much. And for some reason, Best in the Desert this year wasn't live. Usually qualifying's live,
Right.
and and then they don't have tracking for qualifying. So I had no idea any of this was going on, and then so I got the text from Aaron, and I was actually pretty calm, I think, because of the way he worded it, maybe.
Yeah.
But then I start going on social media and I'm seeing the media guys, like someone like Daniel, posting pictures of the fire and things like that. So that stressed me out a little bit. But I called Seth. I came home. I called Seth. He answered right away, and he's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything is good." And so then I asked him, "Is the car going to be ready? Is it fixable?" And he's like, "Yeah, the team should be able to get it fixed, no problem." So yeah, I mean, everything with Seth is stressful. It's just it's my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and serious shout out to his team, the what Red Bull
South.
Factory Can-Am off-road
Yeah.
team.
So that's the team. So it's the
South
team,
Racing.
right? But South Racing is the one that Seth drives for.
Right.
Yeah.
And man, shout out to all those guys because I've been through that kind of situation before. And to get the car good to go by the next morning is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The other side of that is the huevos of you, Aaron, and Seth jumping back in the car and going, put the boots to her. We got to go.
Yeah, we had nothing to lose at that point. The hunt was on.
But still, like,
Yeah, it was
is it
pretty.
going to happen again? Type of
Yeah,
thing.
and that was
Right.
the back of my head. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
it was a freak
Always.
deal. Yeah, like hopefully it doesn't happen again. I could imagine what was going through Seth's head, but I think he had one thought on his mind, and it was just, let's go.
Well, and the way I believe the way he raised him and has had a lot to do with the way he races. And when he races, he has every time one thought on his mind, and it's pretty impressive. It's like they he doesn't get distracted,
No.
you
No,
know,
no. He's
and
one of the most focused people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah,
yeah, and that and
sure.
that goes back, and we're gonna hop on that in a little bit, but so yeah, so Amy's first time chasing a race
By
by
myself.
herself,
Yeah.
Yeah,
by
by myself.
herself.
Yeah.
Are you fueling? Are you doing anything? Are you like servicing the car, wiping the
No, no,
driver, handing them water?
no, they had a DFR team and the South Racing team.
Nice.
Because they were servicing, both Seth and AJ, right?
Right.
So they had two South Racing chase trucks, um, three if you count AJ's dad, but one team one team that bounced was with Seth, and then another truck was with AJ. Them starting so far apart, they had a really figure out how they're going to do it logistically, right?
Right.
So when AJ starting up front, and Seth starting in the back, they had to play it really smart. Luckily, the DFR team, um, they had stationary spots.
Yeah.
So the South Racing guys bounced and the DFR guys were stationary.
Yeah, we had three fixed pits.
Oh,
Four,
nice.
eight, yeah, 4, 8, and 12. We had three trucks that were there from the minute the trophy trucks left, they were already there stationed. We had a plan, but we also had trucks bouncing around. So it was interesting. It was wild, but yeah, she
I didn't have to
definitely.
do anything. I was getting, I basically, um, I don't know, maybe more, just moral support.
Well,
Mom's eyes
and
are on you, you know. I try to
yeah,
stay out. I wasn't on the radio. I did towards the end, and we
I
can
was
tell that
going to
story.
say, hey,
We can tell that
now.
story later. What they put the position that the team put me in, but it was really hard on some parts, you know, not to. I reeled it in. I've been doing this for so long with these boys. You know, it's
Yeah.
usually Aaron and I together chasing Seth.
Yep.
So me chasing my husband and my son, and I'm a control freak in general. So it was hard, but I stayed back. Media wanted to chat with me a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to talk right now.
Yeah. I think in the videos, the produced videos I saw, through what were they through? Those were all through Red Bull, right?
Yeah, that was for the Red Bull
Yeah.
Junior.
Can-Am junior or Red Bull. So there's Seth's he's part of the junior team, right? And then he's part of the Red Bull Can-Am team,
Yeah.
but he's
Right.
also part of South Racing.
Yeah.
So, but yes, it
We
all kind of intertwines.
we tried to um sort all that thread out when we had him, AJ, and Mitchie on.
Oh yeah.
So
And
they're the junior team together.
Yeah.
they're the junior
They're the
USA
junior
team
team.
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Yeah.
then Seth and
AJ,
AJ are part of the Can-Am Red Bull team,
South
right?
Racing. Yeah.
which is South Racing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So South Racing is
Yeah.
the figurehead, and Red Bull is the sponsor, along with
Can-Am.
KMC,
Right.
Can-Am, BFG, like Sparko, like all those guys. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Speaking
little
of
bit
Red
crazy.
Bull, I'm working on a Juneberry right now.
Nice.
And Mia Chapman, if you're listening, I still don't like the watermelon 100%.
Is that our
Um,
favorite?
yeah. Yeah. No, so okay. So you get in the car, you're starting dead last.
Yeah.
And Amy, you're in the chase truck. You're like prepared to start, like mentally, you're like, okay, we're gonna start wheels up at noon or whatever, right?
Yeah.
10:30. And now you guys are wheels up at what, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the
I think it was like
afternoon?
104 when we
Yeah.
were pedal down. Yeah. Green
Yeah.
flag. I think it was like 104. The green flag dropped somewhere around there.
Sorry, our
That's
dog is
Keeps us bumping.
Seth's dog. And if Seth, you ever watch this, your dog is an asshole. Let me get him out of here. Hold on. Come on, Lola.
we can we can keep that in.
Come on.
He's a nut. Yeah, it was interesting. I knew we had our work cut out for us, once qualifying results happened, but this was my second time actually racing with him. I raced Baja 500 with him as a co-pilot as well, and that was actually my first race with him, but this was my second one, so I was a little more comfortable. Very confident in him. I mean, his skills and his smoothness is pretty amazing, but it was definitely stressed because I knew we were going to be dealing with dust, a lot of cars, people moving, people not moving. I mean, it was so
A lot
much
of
was thrown.
carnage.
Oh God, yeah, I felt so bad for people, man. I want to say the first 20 miles, we must have seen like six, seven, maybe more cars just pulled over. It's unfortunate when that long of a race and how much work goes into that race for
Yeah.
all teams, whether you're stock, sportsman, pro, whatever it is. I mean, the amount of work and money that goes into that race
Yeah.
alone, and to see people pulled over, I don't care who they are, your competitor, your whatever, it's a bummer to see that. But yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And we had a fair amount of carnage the year that I helped um that team. And did you guys run up the Rock Valley? I was trying to make hides and tails of course, the
Love
Rock
the
Valley
start.
to Gabs, from like
Oh,
Luna to Gabs or whatever it is.
No, not before that. They threw us through I want to say it was It was way before Gabs. I can't remember the exact name of the area, but I want to say it was maybe from 200 to 300, somewhere in there. There were some nasty rock canyons that were single track and just
Is
you
that
had to
off on
be
the east side of Highway 95?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you had
okay.
to be yeah, it was through that whole rock valley and canyon and
Yeah,
you had to be on your A game and the speed that he carried through there was like, man, one wrong move and you're gonna punch a boulder the size of this car and your day's over.
yeah. Wow. How crazy was it? I mean, okay, so it was your second time, so obviously you're like way chill, calm,
Yeah.
experienced pro now, right?
Yeah. I don't know about that, but
You can chime in anytime, Amy.
I'm just gonna drink my water.
yeah,
Cheers.
no, we spent the week down in Baja. So I mean, I've qualified with him before in the past.
Right.
Short little 3 5 mile qualified run in the past, but I spent a week in Baja before the 500 with him, and so we had a lot of hours and a lot of seat time, a lot of miles together for the 500 pre-run and doing our homework. So I was pretty seasoned at that point when I got in the car. I want to say, kind of, for Vegas to Reno, it was. I got in there with pretty comfortable confidence, and
Nice.
I would say I give yourself more credit. He's more seasoned than he's
yeah,
led on to. I mean, he's done, navigating and co-driving for other teams and
yeah. But for this kid,
I mean that yeah, this was his.
I knew I was in for it. Put it that way. I was,
It might be a little bit different when you're doing that for your son, right? It's a
I,
little bit more pressure.
I
yeah.
was gonna
Oh
ask.
yeah,
I was gonna ask about that because it's like I knew you'd done some other racing.
yeah.
So, is it still driver co-driver when you're in the
Um,
car?
yes and no. Like,
Let's hear the no. I want to hear the no.
well, the no
This is the
is
nitty gritty.
the no
Yeah.
is
Give the people what they want, babe.
it was weird because I want to talk to him like he's my son, but at the same time, like I did and I didn't because I had to be straight up with him. I had to be on my A game. So I was worried about upsetting him or letting him down, because I kind of figured his style out a lot in Baja, but there was times where, yeah, we didn't agree on stuff. And there was times where, I missed a call, I missed a corner. It wasn't a perfect day for me, but there was times where it got a little quiet in the car and, we got, had our little moments and, he gets very, how do I say it? He gets very hard on himself to the point where it sounds like he's upset, but he's not. He's so focused and he wants things like now and he just, he
Maybe,
wants a lot.
maybe a
And
little
Yeah.
barky.
yeah, no, I wouldn't say barky, but he gets down and out, especially after that
Yeah.
first belt, people not moving, people not,
Yeah.
obeying to the push to pass. He gets fired up. And to try to talk him down, I can't talk to him like I want to. I gotta watch it. I gotta kind of ease into it a little bit. I don't know.
Right.
It's tough.
Right.
Uh,
You can't go, hey, put your head out of your ass, you
yeah,
know.
no. Like, the last thing I wanted to do was upset him. So I couldn't
Right.
talk to him like dad at sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
there were some times where I could and sometimes where I couldn't. So it was fun. I've learned him pretty well and I know how to keep him calm, I think. And
I
but
think
there's
I
but
think
there's times that
he would agree to that.
yeah, for sure. But there's times where he doesn't want to hear the positives. He wants me to be upset with him. And it's like, no, like it's so tricky with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun, but there's time. It wasn't a perfect day. We had our moments, and
Sure.
sometimes you got to let him be upset and let him vent. And it's hard for me because I want to be dad and I want to
You
calm him
want to,
down, but
Uplift him.
yeah, and it's like no, he doesn't want that.
right. You want to
He's in
fix
race
it.
mode. Yeah, there's a few times where he barked at me as well, and I mean, I'm trying to take a drink of a Gatorade and, I missed a call or something and we're flying 80 miles an hour off of a double down jump. And all I remember is Gatorade in my face and the car floating. And as soon as we landed, he's like, "You gotta call those jumps quick." I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And there's times where I was trying to zoom in, to see what was ahead of us or try to zoom out. And sometimes, you hit the wrong, with your thumb. So I have to take my gloves off and be on point. It's just, there was a lot going on. So yeah, I made some mistakes, and I, upset him a little bit, but that's racing. And, there's times where I can't be dad. I can't talk to him like
Right.
that. I got to talk to him, race mode. And, it,
I
it was, it was fun.
I wondered because the dynamic, I've seen and the dynamic with you guys for years, and we've like I said, we've had Seth on a couple times. Everybody knows Seth's history and Seth's history with me, and I am so grateful to know you guys, by the
Yeah.
way, and you really are family, and
Likewise. Likewise.
I'm so thankful for when I was involved with the competition side. Um,
Good old Muzzy days.
yeah, back in the Muzzies days, I am so grateful for you know all the respect, the wins, the constant great attitude. Um, all these things are just like not
History, man.
yeah, not every racer does that or has that. And consistent. One thing I can tell you, I don't know who was writing it, but I had consistent race reports every weekend. Um, and that was superb. But
That was a collab with Seth and I. We
Yeah.
would sit
yeah,
down after a race weekend, and I mean, he was tiny. He was like 11, right?
yeah,
11. So, and he, you know, the, his whole career when starting out up until he graduated high school, he was not only racing sometimes I felt like every weekend because he was doing desert and short course, but he would have to go to school. We weren't
yeah,
a lot of athletes get pulled, right? And they do homeschool where we
right.
wanted him to have like the most normal life that he could have. You're nobody special, buddy, right? You might be doing these amazing things, but you have a job to do at home too, and school is very important to us. So when he would get home from races, he had so much work to make up, and especially when he started traveling out of the country. Oh God, he was in high
Yeah.
school then.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so when he would get home, we get home from the races, he would give me like a rundown and I would type it up and send it out for him. But it was always a collaboration.
I loved getting those because that was like gold to me. I just immediately, and I never had to ask for it. It was like I would like this right off the get go when we did our first deal, and it was never a question of if I was going to get it. If the
Yeah.
logos were in the right place. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think you guys did an amazing job of guiding him, if you will, on the racing side. Like, yeah, he's got gobs of talent, and he's a great personality, which you can take credit for also, because, like I said, you created him. But the other side is he's a good person, and that comes from you guys, right?
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
um, and I don't know if you listened to the episode that he was in,
Yep.
I
but
did. Yeah.
but Cole, do you remember him saying, "My mom says I'm nothing special,"
I sure do.
Oh, look at
which was
Seth's dog. Shocker. Shocker.
which was it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I actually have a couple of tears in my eyes right now, and I'm really glad I'm wearing glasses. And Cole, you can cut that part.
No
Um,
way.
bastard. Um, yeah. Okay. So like Vegas to Reno. Okay, we've got to get You won from the back, like legendary, unbelievable in desert racing style. Like generally, when you start in the back in desert racing, all you're praying for is maybe to be in the top 10 or 12, you
Yep.
know?
And that was our
Um,
goal. That was our goal when we started. It's like, I remember me and Seth talking. It's like, okay, let's make the best of this. We were getting closer and closer to the green flag, and it's like, we always have our little pep talks and our little chats before the flag goes down and act like goofballs and try to shake off the bad juju. But our number one goal, honestly, was to be, in the top 10, pray for a top five. But to do what he did, we did, but was just mind blowing.
it was a team effort, but
Yeah.
even more importantly, I mean, the team is a great team. South and all the assets with Red Bull Factory, Can-Am, and all that. I don't want to take anything away from them, but as a family, you guys outshone, if that's a word, outshined the
Outshined.
outshined all of it. Like
Mm.
as a family core unit, I mean, mom's chasing solo, dad's in the right seat for the whole race, probably pee
Yeah.
pee pants and all.
No. I,
He held it.
that's another story.
There's so many stories, Lauren. Oh, we
Well,
have
we
no
want to
idea.
hear
We
them.
could
That's
talk for
what we're here
hours
for.
about this race. Yeah.
Let's just say Seth was in charge of buying the catheters because I was at work, and
He thinks
he
his
he
dad's
go,
Pee Wee Herman.
he,
Oh no.
he go. I said, "Hey, did you give me?" I think it was the morning of the race. I'm like, "Hey, did you get catheters?" Yep, I got them. Cool. Okay, we'll get them at the start line, Dad. Okay, yeah, cool. So we started gearing up, getting ready. I forgot the gas station name where it started at, but we're sitting at one of the gas stations where everybody was at, and I said, "Hey,
The
let me get those."
Amargosa
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
stage stop, right
yeah. So we
across
were
from
there, and
the
I'm like, "Hey,
Alien
let me get
Center.
that catheter." And he goes, "Oh, okay, I got combo packs." I'm like, "Yeah, perfect." I always use
Don't say
I
what
have I
size.
have my I have my size, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, "Cool, well, let me get the pack." And he gives me the pack. I'm like, looking at the pack. I'm like, "Hey, dude, do you have any other ones?" And he's like, "No, that one's brand new. I just got them." Well, it's not the combo pack. He's like, okay, I got another one. He grabbed another one, and I'm like, Seth, I'm not in elementary school no more. Where's the other ones at? And let's
uh,
just say there was only elementary school size and King Kong size. So I tried one didn't work, and I tried the other, and it fell off probably after I tried to practice my key at the start. So I was done from the start. I'm like, okay, well, I have nothing.
Well, mind you, these boys are getting ready in the truck. And this
right.
guy over here is struggling with the first one, just losing his mind. Oh,
Oh, that was
the
classic.
stuff that happens in chase trucks, you would
Yeah.
Oh
not
yeah.
believe.
So
But
yeah, it was
Oh yeah.
wild. So I took it easy on. I mean, I was pretty hydrated from the day before, days before. I hydrated all week. I know better. I've been down that road. I was pretty confident in that, but it was so hard because I love to drink. I get bored sometimes, and I just
Right.
want to snack and I want to drink, and I had to really hold myself back from drinking until that Gatorade. God, it was so good.
you could have just peed your
I
pants.
thought about it towards the finish, but your adrenaline gets going so hard, especially after. I mean, we didn't have a perfect
Try being a
race.
girl.
Yeah, I don't know. Bless your guys' hearts, man, because I don't know how.
Well, for King of the Hammers, I co-dogged for Sarah Price,
Yes.
and I know there's things out there for women, but I'm like, no, no, I'm not doing that. And I refuse because I'm like, if I have to get out and winch in front of all these people, there's no way I'm going to have a pea race suit and out here winching in front of all those people. So I don't care. I don't feel bad for the boys
Yeah,
whatsoever.
it was frustrating because I like to take my potty breaks during a race, especially when you get into a speed zone or a paved road or something. It's like, all right, relax for a second,
right.
let the body relax. But
Okay,
no, there was none of that. But yeah, I mean, once we got going, man, we knew we had our work cut out, and I want to say the first 40 miles was brutal. We were stuck. Our first 5, 10 miles, we were on our own. There was not too much dust, so we were moving pretty high speed. But I want to say mile 30, 40, 50, we were just stuck in a wolf pack of like 6 to 8 cars. Some moved, some didn't. Some unfortunately got bumped pretty hard.
It's
But
all part
everybody
of
was,
it.
yeah, and everybody was very respectful. Everybody, even Seth, the way he'll tap. The second one, you're not getting a tap. The third one, you're gonna get it. I mean, so he tries to be very respectful. So we moved through the pack pretty quick. I mean, unfortunately, we got caught in about 6 to 8 car, pack in the beginning, but after a while, we got out of clear dust and we had some very, very high speed, good runs, and then
158 miles an hour.
oh yeah, man, I think we hold the record for UTVs, but
Right?
we had some other issues with people not wanting to move, and it was unfortunate, but you know, thanks to our team and thanks to
There was one
everybody.
specific truck that I can think of
Oh
because
man,
it was on Mama Bear's Instagram, and I was like,
yeah, yeah, that was a little bit like halfway through the race, but before that, we had some other competitors that wanted to race,
yeah,
but they were definitely holding us up, even though they thought they were racing. But
I did tell them.
we had to play the game. We had to play the game and play it smart, and thank God we did because we were able to get by those few people with strategic moves in the pits where we were supposed to take
yeah.
full tanks, and we pull into the pit and we see them struggling with their big old gravity fed fancy hoses and they're trying to connect to them and they couldn't connect. And I'm like, one can let us go. So there was a lot of smart strategic moves by us in the car and our team, which let us get in front of these people. And yeah, we had to stop at the next pit, which was pit 5, but
They were able to put on
we were able to,
time and clean air.
put minutes on
Yeah.
them after we passed them. So it paid off. And then we had some more, another 100 miles of just clean, fast, very fast, racing. And then, unfortunately blew a belt. I think it was mile marker 280-ish, and that was a pretty quick belt change for this old grandpa. Still got it. But we got going again and got going really, really quick. Actually, I was kind of impressed with that. The way the whole system is with their belts, it's amazing. Um, and then unfortunately, I want to say it was between 6 and 8, somewhere in there, maybe 8, maybe 7 to 9 for 2 whole pits. I thought my thumb was gonna, break or the machine was gonna break from pushing push to pass so many times, but we had a 6100 truck that thought it was cute to hold us up for 60, 70 miles. And I mean, let's say his tracker didn't work. Okay. But we physically made eye contact as we're going through the narrows in the mountains. And, I'm trying to wave at him and, our pit crew's trying to tell him in the pits, hey, you started 3 hours ago and you're holding up a UTV, but this guy did just not want to move. And that was probably the most frustrating part ever in
I mean, the race
my
ethic
race.
was not there with
Yeah,
that
the
truck.
race etiquette, that he
Yeah.
was given was just at that point you're racing for last place in a 6100 truck, racing with the
Right.
UTVs. I mean, if I was in that seat, I would have definitely pulled over the minute I saw a UTV charging hard at your door. And come to find out, he was having issues and struggling, but it was tough. It was really tough. We got by him in a pit finally, and then we blew another belt, later that night going in. It was really weird. We blew 2 belts at a very, very low temperature. So it was just a freak deal.
Yeah.
It wasn't because they overheated or nothing, but
Maybe they were
we got,
made in 2020.
yeah, you never know. Who knows what was going on? But we ended up getting by him again and blew a belt. So he got by us. And it's like, oh God, here we go again. Going into the night, we got stuck behind him for another 20 miles. And then something happened to his truck to where he was like limping, really limping. So we got by him again before pit. I think we got by him before Gabs in that speed zone. No, it wasn't a speed zone.
You can haul ass to
Yeah,
that
when you're
town.
racing through town,
Yeah.
it was
And Gabs.
yeah, and
Yeah.
him and another truck decided to just cruise it once they got on the asphalt before Gabs. And I was looking at my notes. I'm like, dude, it's race speed through here
Yeah.
until we hit the pit. So we
Yeah.
blew by them, as fast as our car could go, got around them and came to the pit and our pit crew killed it and dumped us, topped us off, and away we went and we got away from them finally. But it was that was probably one of the roughest times in the whole race to have that happen to us. And then we get to Gabs, and our pit crew's like, you're a minute and a half off of, I think it was Vito.
Mhm.
And both of our eyes were like, what? Like
So
at that point, they're telling us to leave.
that was a leader. Yeah.
We didn't know Vito was leading, but we had a good feeling, like
I think at that point, I think AJ was still leading.
maybe, maybe. No, I think he was 3 minutes behind because that's what they told us. But
He
anyway,
was running
Okay.
great all day.
yeah, he was doing
He
good.
was doing good all day.
Yeah,
Really good.
serious props actually to AJ.
Yeah,
He was on here with all the boys, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have him again here soon. But yeah, he I want to give him a shout out
for
because
sure.
he
Feel
stayed.
bad for him.
I felt horrible for him. He had a good run going,
Yeah,
and but we've all been there, right? You've all
yeah,
had a great run going, and something happened, and
yeah.
how you
Freak out.
recover from that
Yeah, especially
says a
that late in the
lot.
race too. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, because I think he had taken the lead at one point, and then he had a freak mechanical failure, and
And he doesn't race too much in the States either. So
right.
I know for him, doing well is probably, top priority.
oh yeah,
And he was doing great. And, mechanical, it's got the best of everybody at some point,
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
for sure, for
But I
sure.
will say, like the boys, Aaron and Seth, as much as they were starting dead last, they were up there all day on time. I was getting updates all
He
day.
didn't know that.
I was getting updates all day long, and they were like seconds, if not, just a couple, like a minute or two off of that whole top 10, probably. I mean, it was so tight all day long.
Yeah,
Everybody,
Ronnie, Mitchie, just everybody was up there just running hard and
I was only paying attention to
Pro Turbo class. Yeah,
to the boys' class. I
right.
wasn't worried about the pro R class, right? I'm like, let's just focus on one thing. I had no idea that an overall win was like even possible, right? Like
no, I was
I
shocked.
was freaking floored. But then I was getting updates from I'm gonna name drop. I was getting updates from Andy McMillan and my mom and Joey D, right? And that's when I started realizing, because I was not looking for any updates except for Seth's class. And that's when I started realizing that, holy shit, these boys are winning the overall at this
Yeah,
Yeah,
point.
and they didn't. And I'm
And
kind of
Seth has
glad.
never won an overall.
Not like that. Not like
yeah.
that. That's
Because
kind of hard to do, especially with all these new big 4-cylinder cars and these.
Well,
You
and
know,
from kind of hard to do. It's kind of next to impossible to do from the back of the pack.
Yeah.
and
Never
especially
Everybody's
been
so fast.
done.
You
it's so
literally have to
competitive.
be on your
Yeah,
A
Yeah,
game.
and honestly, these days a flat and a belt,
Well,
you're
really,
out of
that
you're out of contention.
yeah,
So we had two belts before night drop. We had one during the day and then one right at night drop. So it's like, okay, well, let's keep pushing. And we hadn't heard anything as far as times until Gabs, one of our pit crew guys, is like eyes wide open, is so excited. He goes, "You're 1.5 minutes off Vito," and we're like, "Shit, maybe Vito's leading. Who knows?" He didn't tell us Vito was leading.
right.
But that was the first at pit 10 was the first time that we got any kind of time information. So Seth said, okay, well, I must be in the top 5. So let's keep pushing.
Yeah,
Deal. Let's go. Let's move. Boom, gone. And we start moving harder and harder. And it just gave this kid a ball of energy once we heard that. And then he's pushing hard. And then we get to pit 12 and we come in for our splash. Actually, we came in the top off.
yeah,
to
And
finish off the
at
race.
pit
yeah,
12. And at that point, nobody was around us, nobody was near us. So we're like, where are we? Where are we standing? And Seth jumps on the radio. When he jumps on the radio, that's when I know he means business because he doesn't let me talk. It's like he jumps on that and pushes the button right away, and he goes, "We topped off the car, we got going, and all of a sudden Seth hits the button. Me and Seth are chatting in the car. I wonder where we're at, top 5. Let's keep pushing. Good job, buddy." And he jumps on the radio and he's like, can anybody tell me where we're standing? I don't know the exact words, but something of that nature. And
No, he said, can anybody tell me where we're at? Where are we at?
it got quiet. And I'm like, great.
And then his engineer said, You guys are doing good. Keep this pace.
And that pissed him off.
Oh, I'm sure.
He didn't want to hear that. He wanted to hear where we're at, time, everything. So he
Yeah.
fired back and he's like, that's not what I wanted to effing hear. Where are we at? I need times. Do I need to send it or what do I need to do? I need some more information. And he's barking. He gets loud. He gets very, which is kind of cool for me to experience that, like I still think he's this little boy in elementary
Right.
school, but he gets this weird, serious, competitive voice where it's like, I'm just like, damn, who is this
He
next to me?
doesn't talk very much, right? We hear from Aaron all day long. So when Seth comes on the radio, like
Yeah.
he wants the information.
Right.
But I've always known in the past from us having our own race team that we don't tell him.
Yeah.
We don't tell him where he's at or
So
how he's doing.
yeah, so
Right.
they knew where we were at. They knew how we were doing.
So when he said that, everybody in that pit, it was South Racing and DFR at that pit at that time, they all look at me because, because I have a radio, right? He said he asked where they were, and his engineer said, um, you guys are doing good, keep this pace. And he said, that's not what I asked. I need to know if I need to push
or if I need to send it.
or if I need something to that extent, right?
It's the co-driver. I'm sure the co-driver loved
I was
to
laughing.
Hear. Do I need to send it? Oh,
yeah. I'm like,
shit.
no.
And so he said, so at that point, there's probably 15 people in our pit. And he says, so he said that it goes radio silence. And I look at his engineer and I have a radio in my hand. And I go, what are you going to tell him? Because we've always been, especially when we raced, we would not tell him.
Yeah.
So they all looked at me. And I go, am I supposed to say something? Like, what do we do? Should I tell him? Like, it was going back and forth. So this is what I said. I got on the radio. I was praying that Aaron caught my gist. And I go, you guys are doing really, really, really good.
That at that point, I knew.
Keep this pace.
That's.
I was hoping he would have caught on to that.
I caught on quick. I'm like, okay.
And then Seth comes back on the radio, and I knew he was serious. And he's like, that's not what I'm asking. Like, I need to know.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. Well, the last day update I got, you were
7 minutes in the lead is what I remember hearing.
They cut that part out. I said 6.5 to 7 minutes in the lead. And then he was.
It got quiet in the car.
They couldn't believe it.
It got quiet for maybe 5 seconds. And I think both of us were thinking like, how can that happen? How did we do that with all of the problems? Not all the downtime, because I got to say our belt changes were pretty quick, but being held up by the truck, our belt changes.
Yeah.
It was like we were trying to brainstorm it. Like, did we just hear what we thought we heard? And we both looked at each other and started laughing. And he's like, let's go. And we remember fist pumping, both of us fist pumped. I'm like, dude, wow. Like, holy cow, you're doing amazing. Let's keep it up. We're going into the night. Things are changing. And from that point on, it was like he hit it was almost like he had another, few thousand RPMs all of a sudden. And the car just woke up and he just woke up. And it was, we kept a pretty safe, fast pace, if you want to say. But at that point, it was like, I was trying to lie to him to slow him down to not blow corners after that point, because he was just, I was calling stuff and he knows how I call. We spent a lot of time together in Baja and whatnot, but I would call stuff and he knows how to judge my calls. But at this point, I'm like, dude, I just called the tight left, and he treated it like a wide open left, like just ate that turn. And I'll never forget it because.
And this is why you don't tell them.
Right, I got to start. At that point, I zoomed in because I wanted to see all of my corners. I wanted to see all my turns better, and I'm like, I better buckle down, and I will never forget it. I remember zooming in on our navigation on our Lowrance, and I just wanted to, I wasn't even at that point. I wasn't really looking at the track no more. It was dark. I just was focused on the GPS and calling stuff out. And it was like he didn't hear me. I'm like, did you not just hear me call that tight turn? And it was game on after that. And we're just moving. And
that's why you don't tell your drivers.
There was no other vehicles that we had to pass at that point. So it was, open. It was just he was gone. We were moving, and he was hitting everything perfectly. And then, we get to that section 464 where they did the course change, the 7 mile course change, and there was no markers. It was dark. We pull up to this corner, and I'm calling right, open right, wide open right, long right. And he's like, we see these people just flagging us left, and there's no marker. So I didn't know where we were at. I remember seeing like 460, 450 something. So I was like, okay, let's pay attention here. And then we get to this corner and 464, there we go. There's people waving at us left. And I'm like, the course goes right. And he goes, Dad, 464. But
Look at your notes.
I'm like, there was no mile marker. Like, how do we know it's 464? It was so difficult. And people are just, there's a group of people, look like they were having a bonfire camping, and they're just waving us that way. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go that way. It must be the course change. And then finally we see, I think, 464 after we had made that left. And so he's like, grab your notes, grab your notes. And so I grab my notes, and I'm like, we're in it. We're in the speed zone, 25 miles an hour right away. And so he backs her down 25 miles an hour. And at this point, still no signs. And he's like, we're calling to the team, verifying everything's still good. And they're like, yes, you're in the speed zone. You guys, do your 25. So we kept it 25. And it was tough because, a lot of signs had probably been blown over, and with the weather and trucks and hundreds of cars going through there already, it was very difficult to navigate where we were at. And then a few miles later, we see a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone. I'm like, okay, we're in it. We're in it. And our team's helping us. Yeah, you guys are cool. Everything's good. And, unfortunately in that speed zone, we hit it a mile and a half too early. So we went 25 miles an hour, a mile and a half too early, which was unfortunate,
But thank God.
we played it safe.
Yeah.
Due to all the markers, it was a good call on our part. It was tough,
Yeah.
but moving through the night, we hit the end of the speed zone, and we saw 472 resume race speed, and away we go. And he's pushing, 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 and then unfortunately, you know, hit some sharp objects. I don't know what we actually hit. I don't remember hitting anything hard at all, but ended up getting a flat, which to him, he thought it was a broken trillion arm or broke his radius rod. He was all kinds of things were going through his head. And he's trying to get me to look through the mirror. And I'm like trying to do my best to trying to look, for the tire. And I kept telling him, dude, it feels like a flat. It feels like a flat. And he goes, Dad, I think it's something worse. I think it's something bad. This isn't good. And I'm like, let's pull over. But at that point, we're climbing through the mountains, going uphill. And, we don't have park in that car. And so we're kind of, trying to go back and forth and come up with an idea of what to do. And finally, we pull up to, we're getting towards the top, 502, 503 area, and we saw a little flat spot. And it's raining at this point, cold, muddy, and
Wendy.
finally found a flat spot. And we came up to an agreement, hey, if it's a flat, I think it'll be better if we both get out. It'll make it quicker. And he's fighting me on it. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go. And I'm going to ride this thing out. And I'm like, no, you got to stop the car. You got to stop the car. We got to get out, at least physically see what's going on. And so we went back and forth and tried to plan it strategically, come up with an idea and a plan. And we agreed to both get out. And we both got out. And thank God, because it made it so quick at that point. We had a flat. And it was unfortunate, but,
Driver error.
it is what it is. And I was so impressed.
Mom is ruthless.
She is. She's
You're
ruthless. But,
ruthless. That poor kid.
but he was moving, I mean, we were hitting stuff that didn't feel like a rock. Maybe it was just, a fluke deal. Who knows? But ended up being a flat, and we both got out. And we were yelling at each other at this point. It was no father son. It wasn't dad son.
Not yelling like fighting.
Not yelling, fighting,
No.
but just, you do this, you do that, you do this. And it was so rad how the dynamics worked, because everything I said to him, he did. Everything he said to me, I did. And it just clicked so hard. And it felt like it was like under a couple minutes changing that thing, and threw the rim back on, threw the spare back on, and away we went. And man, the last 20 miles, I think I quit calling stuff, because he didn't care what I had to say. He knew he got the update.
Wasted enough to know that section.
That section, that section's it's tight. It's through the trees. You can only go so fast.
Right.
And he nailed it. He was just, I was still calling, everything I could as fast as I could, but he wouldn't respond to me. He wouldn't give me feedback, and I was blown away on how good he drove the last 20 miles. I mean, we were hitting mud puddles that looked like they wanted to swallow the car, and he acted like they weren't even there. And just, it was almost like he just hit another switch and he was just like laser focused. And it was pretty cool. It was, and then we get to the finish, and the team's there waiting with their laptops out, and everyone's sitting there, and we pull in and we're like, we knew we had two belts. We knew we had a flat. So we're like, not going to lie, we were kind of down and out on ourselves. Like, hey, good job. We made it to the finish. That's first, you got to finish before you win. So we
Yep.
finished. We were excited about finishing. But at the same time, we were still kind of like down and out, just kind of like, hey, man, great job, great driving. He's like, thanks. Like just kind of had that bummer voice. We got a flat, probably ruined it, but oh well, it was a fun race. And then the team comes walking up and we're pulling up slowly. We had our helmets off. We had our seatbelts off at the time. And the team was kind of quiet. So it was kind of
Well,
awkward.
because we still didn't know. So
Yeah.
so when I was there waiting for them and they got the flat, all of a sudden, Scott, the owner of the team, was like, Seth's number turned red. And then I'm getting text messages from my side of, that was helping me out. And they said Seth went red. And we're like, so we're all just sitting there waiting, like for Seth to turn green again, right? They hadn't come down yet. And then it must have been just 2 minutes, a
It
2 minute
was
tire change
it
with
was
these
Yeah.
wild.
guys.
It was
And
wild.
so when they came down, for some reason, tracking wasn't updating yet. So we had no idea. So they're sitting there,
We're staring at them, they're staring at us.
and
We're like,
everybody's just waiting. And then all of a sudden it came on the screen, and Scott's just like, you guys just won Vegas to Reno.
and
And
we
then
were blown away. We were like, no way. How how
and then the overall excitement, you guys won overall. So that
that was a part
was
where it
like,
was I think we had already gotten out of the car. They had told us and we were freaking banging on the dash and high fist pumping each other and that we won our class. But unofficially, we had won our class, and we get out of the car, and then all of a sudden, Scott's on his laptop, and everybody's chatting and trying to like.
high-fiving, excited.
And he goes, "You can also congratulate yourselves for possibly winning the overall." And I'll never forget it. Like my brain just went silent. Like I wasn't there. I was like, Is this a dream? Like there's no way. How can that happen, guys? Like I was blown away, and of course I'm in disbelief, and I wasn't accepting it. I'm like, I don't know about that. I said maybe we
Right.
won our class, and that's an unreal. I mean, blown away on that. But
Yeah, especially starting
me and Seth were
back.
looking at each other like, what are we hearing right now? Like, did our team just tell us this? Like, what's going on? And then it just we started high fiving and hugging, and it was pretty wild. I can write a book about it.
You should.
I
You
want to.
should.
Yeah.
Man, it's, on top of everything else, it's like, how cool was it? Like, I mean,
The ups and downs, man. Oh my God.
yeah, and to know that Amy was hitting the pits. Like, Amy,
Yeah.
how
To see
cool
her in
was
the
it
pits,
to
honestly,
know
like that
that the
was
boys were in the car? I mean,
yeah. I mean,
you
we saw her
know,
at a few pits and we're like, how the hell did she beat us to this pit? Like from 4 to 5, for instance. At 4 to 5 was gnarly. 4 to 5, I
I
want
did
to
the speed
say
limit. I'm a good girl.
I have
I'm
no clue how not only our team, obviously Amy too, but we all know how Vegas to Reno is. That traffic gets crazy. But
oh yeah,
so we had a strategic plan at 4 and it worked and we were in and out in like seconds. So it's like, okay, well, we need to fuel at 5. How the hell is a team going to beat us from 4 to 5? Because at that point we had no dust, no cars, no anything. We were gone.
yeah.
And we were talking. We're like, please, please, like let him beat us. But we saw him at pit 5 and her. I was blown away. I was blown away, and I'm like, how does she keep beating us to these pits?
I'm a rule follower, so even if I wasn't gonna beat them there, I wasn't about to freaking speed. I'm a chicken too. Like Yeah, I don't drive fast. The boys, I drive them crazy for that how fast or how slow I drive. But yeah, it was divine intervention, I believe, being able to make every pit and the boys being able to, it besides their little bit of issues, smooth day in the pits.
Yeah.
Smooth day in the pits, which was really nice.
1 second.
Well, yeah, and so I like obviously when they did Baja together
Yeah, I
with
chased that too.
exceptional result. I don't know. I'm not.
I
I'm
didn't chase it by
I,
myself, but I chased it, and the
I
team wedged me in between two other chase tracks. I wasn't by myself
yeah.
on that
Oh, I
one. That one I
remember.
had
Yeah, I
someone in the
remember that.
car.
I was going to say something about. I just remember seeing a lot of social media about margaritas and tacos, but I do
Not a race
remember
day.
you were
I
in a chase
wish.
truck too. But yeah, no, it's the whole thing. It's just what I mean.
It was wild.
It's the story that really with the whole family, um, and the coming from the back and all that's the stuff that movies are made of, really.
Yeah.
Um, and what a result. I mean, I was watching it whenever I could get service, and I do remember when his number went red, and I'm like, oh man, because I was following him, AJ, Dustin, Ryan, um, Mitchie, pretty much
By all your people.
all my people, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whenever I could get service, I'm like, my phone was pissed off at me. I'm telling you, but nah,
Yeah, it
it
was
was
wild. I'm usually on the other side where I've seen his car go red
right.
when him and Colby were racing. But for me at that point, I was like, oh, flat tire, dude, we got this. But I'd rather be in the car
Knowing what's
than
going on.
chasing him because when you get that feeling and that number goes red or your
When you're
race car
chasing.
stops, it's one of the worst feelings for a race team, driver, whoever, for the team to see that happen. But I was in the car when that happened, and for me, it was like kind of relieving. Like, oh, I'm stopped. It's all good. We got a flat, change it real quick. We're gone. Like, but for them,
Yeah.
seeing it on their side or your guys' side,
Oh
it's like,
yeah, it's so stressful.
So
yeah,
I'm driving, right? So I can't see those things. So I was getting updates, and when they had their first belt issue, I was in between 9 and 13, and there really isn't. It's a one lane road once you get through Tonopah,
yeah,
right? And you start going around the lake.
Yep.
So when I heard they went red, I stopped. I pulled over. I found a safe place to stop, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here because if I have to backtrack, I've got it's better for me to do it here than coming back from 13 because from 9 to 13 it took me almost 2 hours to get there.
Yep.
So I stayed there and I sat and I waited and checking social, checking their tracker. And then I get a text, hey, they're moving again. I'm like, okay, so then I can continue. But then I get to a spot where I have no service. I
Right.
have no idea what's going on. And it's like, do I continue? Right? Or do
It's
I backtrack? Like it's just chasing by yourself. It's not recommended. It's a PSA for everybody. Do not chase by yourself. You talk to yourself, you get
or you got to get one of
paranoid.
those fancy Starlings, like everybody has or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely need one of those.
Oh
I'm
man,
surprised they don't have one. I mean,
Oh,
they
with the,
everybody does.
they did
They
on the
did.
team,
All
but
the whole team did, but
the team had them,
oh
but they split up so much, and
I wasn't
yeah,
really with anybody, so I was
yeah,
just
I got you.
yeah,
Okay.
on my
we definitely
laurels.
we got to get one of our own for sure. Like I
You
would
would
like
think
to
that
invest.
you would think the team would supply one.
Yeah,
I mean,
They probably didn't even know I was coming, to be
I,
honest. I just
I
showed
don't.
up and I was like, hey, add me to the group chat. I'm gonna chase you guys.
You wanna hear the funniest thing ever about that Starlink and Vegas to Reno course at least is if you haven't heard I don't know what episode it was, but um Viking was traveling with me and we stopped in Amargosa at the whatever stage stop or whatever that gas station is.
Yeah.
And this guy who had been paramotoring that crashed asked me for a ride to Beatty to the
No.
airport to get his truck.
Wow.
His face was all beat up. And I was like, you know what? The guy's uh, probably all right. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, we'll make room, hop in the back seat. As we're driving up to Beatty, we find out he's the number one from Starlink.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. And we actually got onto that topic because I was talking about, oh, there's Pitt, whatever, the year I was involved with it, and I said, we were talking about it. And I said, a lot of the media people now that cover the desert racing are using Starlink. And he's like, oh, really? And so I'm telling him all this stuff about, like Fish and all these guys that using Starlink. And he goes, wow, I had no idea. That's really interesting. I need to look into that more. And I'm like, yeah, it's super cool. It's been a real asset. And he goes, well, uh, I've actually run Starlink.
Wow.
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
what? I'm driving down the road 75 miles an hour looking behind me. What? So yeah, it was crazy. But anyways,
Small world.
that'll probably have to be an after show or something, Cole. Because
Yeah, there you go.
we got off on a tangent there. Sorry.
That's
So
cool.
so yeah, the legendary call on the radio though is like, I mean, it was just so rad for me to see all of you involved in not only a win, an overall win, but an iconic win. I honestly don't think I can remember ever a UTV starting dead last and taking overall UTV
Yeah,
in
it was
any
wild.
desert race. Any.
It
Yeah.
was wild.
I mean, and not only to do that, but to do it as father and son is something
Yeah,
real special. It's
that's
Yeah.
very
super
special.
special. Well, and you
Yeah.
had pretty good results at Baja too, did you not?
Yeah. Yeah. There
I
we
mean,
started 44th car on the road and 17th in our class. And I think by mile marker 280, when we handed off the car, we were first in class, third overall.
yeah,
AJ unfortunately, had a freak deal. Wasn't his fault. He was doing great, but we had some mechanical gremlins that, attacked us there as well. But yeah, great run. And, we want to do it again. We ain't done
yeah.
yet. We ain't done yet.
I love it. I love it,
I'm
man.
done.
We're just getting started.
You're
Lauren,
done.
I'm done. I'm done.
I
Only
mean,
till
Okay.
the next one.
Yeah.
there's a few that I would rather not do. Like King of the Hammers just hurts my back thinking about it.
Right.
Chickens.
But
Oh,
Dennis,
I'm
Dennis,
the only Quintero that has done Seth raced King of the Hammers last year. Desert. But I'm the only Quintero that has done the rocks. So
that did the rock race. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember that year.
you could have that one. I don't know.
I never know. I'm good.
I don't want anything to do with them rocks.
I remember you guys coming back from there and coming back off course because
Yeah.
I was standing right there when you guys pulled up. It was rad.
Yeah.
was like,
Sarah and I
man.
broke an outer limits, I
Yeah.
believe it was. And
Yeah.
then we got rescued. We had to leave her car out there, unfortunately. It was not fixable, but we got back and Seth's like, it's funny because we went down. We're totally getting off topic, and I apologize. But the
That's what
coolest
we're
thing for
about. We're
the-
along for the ride.
That's right.
the coolest thing for me with King of the Hammers was seeing my husband and my son in the pits.
Yeah, we got to chase her. It was
because it's
rad.
usually me right in
Right.
the pits. But I mean, Seth re-racked my tire or Sarah's tire. Right after we just did backdoor, we made it down backdoor. Who can say they made it down backdoor? Not
Right.
any of the Quintero boys, but Mrs. Quintero can say she went down backdoor and survived. Yeah,
In a race.
in a race. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full on race mode. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty awesome. I remember that. That was super cool. And I mean, I think at some point, I don't where we at on time, Cole. We good?
Yeah,
We
I
getting
mean,
long?
yeah, we're A little over, but that's fine because the stories have
Okay.
been so good. So we're plenty fine here.
Thanks, Cole.
He's so quiet, and then all of a sudden he just jumps in with something. He, Cole is a very experienced desert racer
Well, what kind of
and
questions do you have for us, Cole?
motorcycle racer, and
Well, I mean, there's, well, first of all, Lauren, I wouldn't say experience when you're talking to Quinteros, I mean, it's
well,
nothing in comparison, so let's be
right.
fair there. But yeah, Amy, I was going to ask you, did you have anything when you were chasing that really caught you off guard? Because I know, like you said, there can be a lot of traffic, there can be literal road traffic. Some of the roads in and out can be pretty silty, pretty nasty. Was there anything that caught you off guard, kind of got you out of your flow?
The donkeys. They got me sidetracked a little bit. There's a lot of donkeys. And I will say there was, I think it was pit, oh gosh, either 6 or 7, I believe. We just did a visual, but to get to that pit, it was, what was this? The, I think it was almost like a dry lake bed type deal. Do you remember the one
Oh,
year
yeah.
we had to unhook the trailer
Yeah.
because we were scared to get
Yeah,
stuck?
and there's silt going into it.
Yeah, that was the only one. I was like trying to get to the dry lake bed, and trucks were struggling to get through that pit to get to the dry lake bed. And I'm like, oh, here we go. So I just like, I've always known, don't lift, Amy. So that's what I did. I just right through that.
Momentum
Yeah,
is
momentum kept me
everything.
going. Yeah, there and getting back out. I would say that the donkeys and that one, and then not having service really threw me off too. That was that was nerve wracking because not only like I don't want to have the team worried or family at home worried about me or the boys like she didn't show up to a pit. What's going on with her, right? If I have a flat tire or I ran out of gas or truck problems or whatever it might be. So that made me like a little bit nervous not having any kind of service at certain points. But besides that, I felt really good. I didn't eat at all.
I did.
I was too nervous.
Had a lot of gushers and beef jerky.
I thought about stopping in Tonopah and like grabbing some nuggets or something, but it's like, you know what? Just keep going. You never know. But I will say, everybody, I'm like I said earlier, I'm a very slow driver. Um, and some of these chase teams were like blowing past me, and that made me nervous. Them towing trailers and
Yeah,
just
people get wild on that one.
Yeah.
passing, and then on these 2-lane roads, that made me nervous for sure. But that was about it for me. I was
Yeah.
just, and then getting lost. Oh my gosh. So many times we have done Vegas to Reno, and from 13 to the finish seems to always be an issue. We always get lost somehow. But the boys were able to show me how to just type in the coordinates, and it literally dropped me at every pit without having to look at the pit book.
Yeah.
So I just
Nice.
followed that, which was so good. So, and a lot of those towns, though, like especially for me leaving 12 to go to the finish line, you're a lonely soldier, and it's dark,
Yeah.
and you've got at this point for us it was rain, wind, and lightning.
Yeah.
So trying to
Pretty
get through
crazy.
those little small towns by yourself with yeah, that was a little
Top,
bit
yeah.
and not
Top Gun
knowing
to,
like where the boys were. So
Top Gun to
yeah.
the finish is I've made that drive multiple times not racing, and it's not that enjoyable. Even in
Mm-mm.
No.
daylight it's not great. But
Right.
we chased the year that we chased, we finished at 12:47 in the morning or something like that.
Wow.
So because we were the year there was the big delay, 4 hour delay at the start,
Oh, wow.
due to a crash. And
Crash. The NA
yeah,
class, right?
what's that?
That was when someone had walked on course in the NA class, right? There was
No,
one.
this was 21. Um, and somebody got a racer had gotten hit.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
he had got
yeah,
in his car and
yeah,
was
got out of
walking
his
back on
car.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
unfortunate, man. I
yeah.
remember that.
yeah.
I remember that.
That was a bummer. Yeah, you guys were racing that. We weren't in the
Yeah.
same class, but
That was
um,
Seth's first turbo. The first year he was out of NA,
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, is when he ruined that
Yeah,
for Roger.
I remember hearing that call. It was one of the worst ones ever.
Yeah.
Um, this was my first race back though. I hadn't been in a couple of years. So the last year we had a death in the family, so I didn't go. I stayed home with my family to help out. And then the year before I had COVID. So I hadn't been in 2 years. So this is and Seth hadn't won in 2 years.
Oh,
So
well,
my first race back,
She brought the good luck back.
good
yeah,
luck, mama.
maybe you need to drive a chase truck for every race.
No,
Exactly. You know, you can't change it. Once you got a little momentum going,
Yeah,
that's
you
it.
get
You
the
gotta,
flow, man.
yeah.
you want to hear something funny? So
Yeah.
when the boys did really, really well in Baja, I call it they won the Baja 280 because that's when they got out of the car and they were doing so good. I was wearing my Quintero shirt, and then this race they won, and I wore it again just for a little superstition, and so they won. So Seth leaves for Argentina. I washed it and I snuck it into his suitcase to
Nice.
bring him a little luck in
Yes.
Argentina.
I love it. I love it.
So fingers crossed, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying, it's tough when you're on the road all day. It's tough to like tune in to um Instagram and try and see updates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's doing
then
good.
They finished two today. They're on three tomorrow.
Stage two's complete, and they got stage
yep.
three tomorrow. And
And he did well in stage 2 and did well in
yeah,
stage 1.
yeah.
Stage one, he got
Um,
second. Stage two, he
did
got
they
third
finally
today.
get the time adjustment thing
Yeah.
done?
They did. Yeah.
And he did get second.
He did get second.
Yeah,
Awesome.
he got his time credited back. So
Stellar.
3 more
Stellar.
days. 3 more
Yeah.
days, and
These are the Raleigh. I know we're talking about Vegas to Reno, but
it's stressful.
Raleigh is so stressful.
Yeah.
I wish it was just one day and done, but
Yeah.
How
5 and 6 days, or Dakar when it's
I was just gonna say
15 days.
how stressful is Dakar?
Honestly, that is probably, I know
It's the worst time of my life.
it's the worst 2 weeks as far as sleep, as far as work, as far as stress. I mean, for us and for him too, I'm sure, but we go to bed probably we try to go to bed like 6 or 7 in the evening just so we can get a few hours of sleep and wake up at 1 or 2 in the morning and start tracking them. It's a brutal 2 weeks. It's brutal.
It's just hard too because like the sun starts going down and we're eating dinner, and then the ick starts coming over you, right? You're like,
Some nights we don't eat dinner because we're so stressed. It's like,
because
oh,
you know that
it's a wild
what time it is in Saudi Arabia and the race is about to start. So you get this feeling like here
Yeah.
we go.
As we know, some of those places, aren't the safest. So it's like, okay, is he going to make it
Right.
through this town? Or, it's that one throws a lot of curveballs at you.
Dakar is the
It's
worst and best experience, I guess you could say. And you've seen him, you know, he's had devastating issues,
yeah.
That's
but
though.
he never ever gives up, and I'm so proud of him for that. So proud of him for that. His not give up attitude. He will, you know, spend 16 hours in a day, between racing, and then if he breaks, and a competitor helping him back to the bivouac and getting up, sleeping 2 hours and getting up the next morning and winning.
I don't know how he does.
Like
And
it's just
smiling the whole
Yeah.
time.
just so grateful that he's there, you know. It's
It's
just so hard being like away from him and him having to deal with those kind of emotions. He has no
Yeah.
family there, dealing with those emotions, I think is the hardest part for me, is
sure.
that he's dealing with it by himself.
Well, and if it's any consolation, when we had all the boys on, um, at least the three of them kind of have each other,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we kind of touched on that some, and because you never know. I hadn't really spent much time with AJ, so I didn't know how friendly they all really were.
No, they are
And
friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, I want to know, right? So it's like, let's get right to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's at least, I can't imagine how tough it is for you guys. but at least he's got, three or
At
four
least they have
friends
each other.
there,
Yeah.
you know.
And he's made friends throughout these couple years that he's been racing internationally, with other teams and
Yeah.
the dirt bike guys because he's a dirt bike kid at
Oh,
heart.
yeah.
And so, I mean, I love that for him. And he's got, his Red Bull boss Arnaud out there who is like a father figure to him out there. And Scott has been great. The new team that he's racing for. He's amazing with Seth. So and Dennis is co-driver. Like they're
Yeah.
like brothers. So he's got Dennis. It's just Seth's so much younger than everybody else.
Right.
So him, he's probably fine. But for me, like knowing like a win or a loss, like it's just we can't be there to celebrate. We can't be there to help him when he has those bad days. So that's the
Yeah.
hardest part for me.
Yeah. It's know that he thinks about you guys a lot while he's out there for sure. But the other side of all that is, and we talked about this in his show about Dakar and missing home and stuff like that. And it's funny that your explanation was very, very close to his explanation of Dakar, as far as it's like the race that you hate for 2 weeks and then you're ready
Yeah.
to get back to 4 days later when it's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And
Um,
when they usually announce like the dates for Dakar in June. And so that's usually 6 months before it starts. And I'm already like, oh God, please, no. Can we not talk about it?
yeah.
Going to say when the holiday commercials start, you get to start worrying about that stuff and then keep it going all the
Yeah,
way through
right.
Yeah.
most of
Yeah.
January.
He will be home for Christmas this year, so that's
Yeah, we
good.
get him home
That's
for
sweet.
Christmas this year. Yeah,
That's
because it doesn't start till
awesome.
after the new year. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to have him home. It's been 4 years since he's been home for Christmas.
Wow.
So it'll be
crazy.
nice.
Yeah, we always celebrate
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
or late, so this year will be pretty cool.
It'll be good. Yeah.
So
He makes a lot of sacrifices.
he does. And going back to the education thing and going to school and still in essence being a full-time racer or full-time plus professional racer, and his mom's still going, you're a junior, get your
Yeah.
Yeah.
ass to school.
Yep.
you know
Yep.
it's crazy, that's
Yeah.
but it's awesome. And I didn't really like we didn't I don't want to talk about Seth too much. I want to talk about you guys and
Okay. I love
your
that.
experiences. And I mean, we've had Seth on a couple times, and we're gonna have him back here soon, I think. Um, so
Yeah, I'd
I
love to hear his version of
He loves
Vegas
talk.
to Reno.
Yeah, he loves
yeah,
talk.
yeah, and he's such a great kid, because I throw him a text and he's like, or even after we did the last show with all the boys, I'm like, we gotta have you all back on individually, and he's like, anytime, you know. And I
And
mean,
Lauren, you have to remember, you have been there since
I think
you
he
were
was
one
like,
of
I think
his
he was like
first
10
sponsors.
years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he was a Red Bull athlete.
Yeah, you were.
yeah,
I remember you guys were hanging out at the Red Bull tent. I think it was Camp Razor, maybe, when they were racing all the 170s, the
They
yep.
raced together.
celebrity race.
Was
I
it
didn't.
you and him? You guys were in the
No, I didn't.
banana suits?
No,
I
it was
didn't.
Greg
I didn't
Godfrey.
get to
Oh,
race, but we had. Yeah, I have pictures of what was we were in banana suits together.
yeah,
Yeah.
you were in banana suits.
Yeah, yeah,
You,
we were
him,
matching
and
banana suits.
was it Greg?
I think maybe it was Greg Godfrey.
Greg Godfrey, too. I think you guys were all in banana suits.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I got some other pictures. I got so many pictures from that year of everybody.
I think he was like
Um,
10 years old at that point.
yeah,
That
well,
was like right before he got signed.
No, he got signed right before Camp Razor because I told Joey and Greg there, and Seth didn't get his hat until December.
That's right.
And that was in
Yeah.
October.
I
Yeah.
remember the what was it, Facebook video or something of him
Yeah,
opening
Christmas.
the opening the
Yeah,
package at Christmas.
Yeah.
I remember that.
yeah, good times.
But yeah, no, and speaking of, you know, going back a few years, I think, you know, I really I think Aaron, you dropped me an email, or you may have even called me. I think you dropped me an email when I was at Muzzy's. Probably got my email from Joey D.
Probably.
And Joey had said, "Hey, you should take a look at these guys." Um, I think back then, it was a much different dynamic. I think Joey and Danny said, "You need to take a look at these guys. They're a great family, great kid." And you know, I
Right back, Lauren.
I was selective at that time. And but in talking to you and being able to talk to you, and then I didn't even remember. I don't think I met Seth till after we had a deal.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd seen, some results. What was it? Dirt series?
Yeah. They started out in the
Yeah.
dirt series
Yep.
Yeah.
against all
Yeah.
the trophy carts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did pretty much everything that we could do at the time with the first UTV World Championships. And you know what? That was a life changing moment for me. You guys were there. Seth was there. I had the booth set up.
Yep.
Um, and you guys spent a bunch of time hanging out and taking pictures and letting us get pictures that we could put on our social media and all that. A lot of the other parents were much too busy, to just hang out. And, but I remember after, at the after party, and before we get to the after party, I sat down.
Great.
That
What did I do?
no, no, on the races, that year, the very first UTV World Championships, when all of Muzzy Racing was basically my responsibility, all the R&D, all that stuff. Who I chose, all that. That UTV World Championships, we took 9 of 12 podium positions but the very first that I got, the very first UTV World Championship, I felt like I won, was Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because, Aaron, you sent me the email. Amy, you slapped him around and kept him in a straight line.
Yeah.
And that was, I will never forget that. Like, that is
Same here, man. We'll never
the
forget
We'll
it.
never forget that. Ever.
one, that was it, man. Like, that's okay. I won.
And look at him now.
Yeah, I know. And it's so funny because, like, you know, even you guys and people don't understand that was a couple years ago. Uh,
Yeah. A decade ago.
yeah, that was a decade ago, folks. Um, but you guys have always been family to me, and I'm so grateful for
Likewise.
everything and for the example that you guys set for Seth. And he is arguably currently one of the greatest racers in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, thanks,
Certainly off
Lauren.
road. Um, I was kind of mentally going through the list of Dakar, and I have followed Dakar since it was on Wide World of Sports, probably before you guys were born.
Probably.
And
I mean, it's been
those
going for 50 years.
Yeah, it's
those
wild.
yeah, those guys, and Seth, even Mitchie, AJ. I live vicariously. I always wanted to do Dakar and to see these guys bringing America back to Dakar, but not just bringing it back, but
Bringing the
like
record back too.
bringing the record back, flying the flag in everybody's faces. Cole, don't worry, I'm not going to go on a rant about F1.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, we could go on a
Oh,
rant about F1.
not
No,
It's
no.
fine, Lauren. Let's
no
do it.
not F1, FIA.
Uh,
Don't want to get no one in trouble here.
FIM, FIA, yeah, and the French. Um, I don't want to get involved in any of that. I got in trouble already from Cole for that one. But no, I mean, it's super cool, but it's like all this came from somewhere. And it wasn't mom and dad handing him a PlayStation, right? It was mom and dad being there, splitting knuckles,
For sure.
getting covered in mud, washing, washing fire suits when they're completely caked with mud.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
First production 1000 race at Prim.
Yeah.
at Prim.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how I
Holy
mean, I think
cow.
we made a windshield out of duct tape. We cut a little hole in it. I remember that day.
It was gnarly.
Yeah.
It was a mess. I've got a good picture of that too, but I think the point I'm making is people see the athlete and they hear the story, super young signed Red Bull athlete, and he still has had to earn his way,
Oh yeah.
right? Mom and dad didn't cut a racer size check.
No.
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 It's a family. Even now, it's a family operation. I mean, he's with a big team, and you're still a family operation. Proof's in the pudding.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys, as a family, not only just one Vegas to Reno from the back of the pack, and one overall UTV
Yeah. That's
as a family.
one for the books for sure.
That is probably
I don't know.
one.
It's gonna be hard to top that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard
I don't.
because we all know how hard that is. I mean, he's won Vegas to Reno 3 times now, but
Yeah,
This one's special.
to be able to do
for
that,
sure.
I mean, and like you said, to have the family there and have mom there and just the way it
Well,
all went down, it's going to be really hard to top that one.
maybe next year, mom should right seat and dad should
Absolutely
chase.
not.
There we go.
That sounds like a viable solution.
I love him with all my heart, but no,
It was fun.
absolutely not.
I mean,
He goes over 30 and I start hitting him to slow down. No,
no, we do 30 in the pits, so that's
we do
not
25
not
in the
acceptable.
pits.
what about right seating like in a race overseas, Amy?
No, none of it. No, none.
I would love to do that, but honestly, like,
When it's in kilometers, it's different. Everything feels different. Trust me.
Everything feels slower.
Yeah.
like they might make it look easy, but that's a whole different
Reading
animal.
a road book.
I mean, what Dennis does and what a lot of those co-drivers
Yeah.
do is just they have their work cut out for them. I mean, they're getting thrown curveballs. They're getting challenged by, the race directors. They're trying to get
Yeah, these series want them to.
they want you to
mess
get
up.
lost. They want you. They're
Yeah.
throwing you curveballs.
Yeah.
It's wild.
They
So hats off to Dennis and all those co-drivers out there.
they specifically want the American athletes to not do well.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about that, because Cole will I'll get in trouble
No,
again.
you got to deal with it. Just let her rip.
Well, it's true though, and we covered this when I talked to Mitchie. We covered it when I talked to Seth the first time, and when we had all.
And I get it. You're in their world.
You're in
know?
their world, but they have a hard time when you're better than them, and it's
I think, though, I will say this, Lauren. I think Seth and I don't know about Mitchie or AJ or whatever, but because it's my own experience, because it's my kid. But I think Seth has maybe changed the minds
Definitely.
of the
And
fans and the
Yeah.
other teams and stuff. Because
definitely, we
so
actually talked
a
about
lot of
that some.
people think you look at a racer, right? Especially like in a Red Bull athlete, you automatically, and I heard this from somebody very high up, that you automatically assume that they're going to be arrogant,
Hmm.
especially being an American. You're a Red Bull athlete, that you're going to be arrogant. You come from money. It's, they have this perception of these American racers. I can't speak for AJ or Mitch, but for Seth, he comes from a humble background. Dad and I both work 9 to 5s and construction. We, you know, we
Yeah.
we've done this from the ground up. You
Literally.
don't people A lot of people don't understand that, these sponsors are amazing, but they're not throwing a ton of money at you,
Right.
right? And I've always had a hard time, especially with when partnership season comes around, to even ask for anything. So it's kind of like, hey, Seth, this is what we can do for you. And we'll go ahead and we're like, oh, thank
Fine.
God, thank you. It's less money out of our savings account type of thing. So this perception of American racers, especially if you are a Red Bull athlete, is that you have this arrogance and you come from money. And that's not always the case. So I think Seth has maybe changed that perception,
Yeah.
which and I think more of the fans relate to something like that. So
For
I
sure.
think that's helped a lot.
He loves the fans, and the fans love him. Everywhere he goes, I mean, he's making friends with every
He'll shake
nationality.
hands. He'll shake hands with anybody. He'll take a
Yeah.
picture with anybody.
Yeah.
There
He goes out of his way for whether you're a kid or an adult. He
Yeah.
loves it. He loves it. Every nationality, every country he's gone to, he's making fans and friends. And that's
and they're and
his biggest part. He loves
it's
that.
funny because like they'll find out who we are, right? And so they'll be like, "Hey, we saw like Seth like in Saudi Arabia or Dubai or wherever." They'll start sending Aaron like videos because they're chasing the race,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I've got a lot of connections now on keeping track of them.
Yeah. So they'll send him videos and be like, "Oh, your son is so
And
sweet."
then I'll send
Yes.
screenshots of Seth, and he's like, "How did you get that?" I'm like, "I got connections. I got people watching you."
And
Well,
we've always instilled in Seth too, like nothing is given, everything is earned. That's like our family motto. And he's taken that with him throughout his career. So I'm very proud of him, how he's stayed humble throughout the hoopla, I guess you could say,
yep.
and his accolades. He's done very well, but he's stayed very grounded. He comes home. He's a lot of his like even teachers and like the students at like the school had no idea he even raced
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he just didn't
Yeah.
talk about it and was just like,
But a lot of that, I'm going to, since you guys won't take it, or won't say it yourselves, it really is all the work that you guys did, like
Appreciate
from
that.
ground zero up through probably, I worked with a lot of young athletes, and a lot of them are still my kids, and a lot of
yeah,
them have kind of gone away from racing or whatever. But um, even then, at 10 or 11 years old, he was well spoken, you know, and respectful. And that's something that's taught by the parents. So, you know, you guys sell yourself short for sure. Um, and I
Been
mean,
fun.
okay, big deal. He's like holds the record for the most Dakar stage wins, and he's like super popular American. Plug your ears, mom. All the European chicks want him, you know. Um, all the Jersey girls were all about him.
were they?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, come on, he's a
Cute, a
good-looking kid
California
too.
boy.
Yeah,
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 yeah, I get it.
yeah.
I
And
mean, I look at his dad. I mean, how can
I
you
don't
not
know about
Woo.
be?
Yeah. Hey, keep it. We are. Oh, we're
PG.
not PG-13. No. BC fixed that. No, was that BC? Who fixed that for us?
BC did it. Ronnie did it. We've had a
Ronnie.
few.
We have Ronnie Renner on here.
Oh,
So yeah, we're never going to be PG-13.
I like it.
It's just fine with me. So, anyways, I think we should wrap up. Anybody you guys want to give special shout outs to? Any partners, sponsors? Of course, the
Oh, absolutely.
family. You
Yeah,
have to give shout
yeah.
outs.
there's an army.
Ashley.
There's an army that's been behind us since day one, man. And
Yep.
I mean,
I mean, I would love to like Quintero Racing, like,
for sure.
you know, that team, our team was just,
Friends and family.
yeah.
Yep.
And they gave heart and soul, definitely Quintero Racing. And I would say, our our moms, definitely
Yeah.
with helping with
Biggest fans.
biggest fans. Seth, yes, Seth's biggest fans for sure. Our daughter, she took a little
She's
bit of
the
a back
biggest
burner,
supporter, yeah.
right? She was going through college and all that stuff while Seth was going through all of this, and she is probably his biggest fan.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she never complained, but people like Joey, oh my God.
Joey D.
Joey is just he helped us navigate racing because we were so new to it. And
Right.
he took us under his wing and we became such good friends. I say family now, you, Lauren,
Eh.
you've been there since the beginning.
Yep.
So thank you for that. And definitely his bosses at Red Bull,
Yep.
um,
Everybody at Red Bull has just been arms wide open and
yeah.
the biggest family and just the biggest faith in him. It's
I don't like
it's a
saying,
family.
I won't say anybody's names at Red Bull. Red Bull likes to keep
Yep.
those
Nope.
people like behind the
Absolutely
scenes type of
fine.
thing, but they know who they
Yeah.
are.
Yep.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, and we became so close with them because Seth was so young, so everything was funneling through me, right?
Right.
So Aaron and I made these relationships with
Yep.
you know his Red Bull bosses.
That's the best part about it, I think, is a lot of our partners, sponsors are
Nate,
I hate
Nate at
even calling them
BFG.
that, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone's become family,
Right. Yep.
all the BFG boys, all KMC family and
The Andersons.
Andersons,
Oh, yeah.
it just
Yeah.
there's such a list of people, that it's hard to
Got it.
call them sponsors and partners or it's
Right.
become family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody at KMC, BFG, Red Bull, I mean, there's so many people that have just been there since day one.
Yeah. Walker Evans. Like it's just, yeah.
There's a lot of people that there's an army of them that have become
Yeah.
family.
That's
And
awesome.
we couldn't do without them.
You
We couldn't have done it without them. We would have sold our house.
You know what? It's you guys did a great job with Seth, but
Thank you.
the big thing to me, congratulations on an amazing record-setting Vegas to Reno as a family.
Thank you.
I don't think it'll ever be done again unless you guys do it.
Well, we
I
plan
mean-
on doing it again next year, so let's see if we can go
Well-
back to back.
Maybe you could switch right seat halfway through, Amy.
No, sir.
Just across the podium, something.
Just yeah.
Yeah. Once he crosses the finish line, I'll hop in. You guys can
Yeah.
push
There we
me.
go.
We'll
You-
throw some dirt. We'll throw some dirt and mud at her and make her look awesome.
Photo op.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us, guys. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you guys for coming.
I know we
on.
probably went over
Appreciate
time.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You know what? It's okay. We
Awesome stories. Like, yeah, it was
yeah.
worth hearing every moment of it because it's like you said, unless you guys do it, it probably won't be repeated again. So
Yeah.
happy to have
Thanks,
you
Cole.
both
I
on.
appreciate
We'll
it.
try. We'll try our best to repeat it. Hopefully one of these. Maybe we'll do in Baja or something. Try to overall
There you go.
1,000.
No, wait, we're going to F1. No, we're going to F1. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
It's like um, these stories. Like I appreciate you guys opening up about and being raw about in the car and chasing and in the pits and all that because those stories seldomly get told, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so I really, especially from the perspective that you guys were able to give us.
as
And so,
parents, crazy. Yeah, it's a whole
yeah,
new world when you're the parent. Yeah.
yeah. You're actually really blessed that you have a kid that races too, because as you know, I have four and none of them race. Um,
But you got grandchildren who are absolutely beautiful. So
I I have one that I'm pretty sure she is like a carbon copy of the old Mad Dog. Um, she is nuts. She's been like scooters, bicycles,
Nice.
3 years old, and riding scooters down the stairs.
Nice. Keep her
And
going.
yeah, that's I try to. Her mom is like, "Don't do that," and I'm like, "Keep doing it. It's all right.
yeah.
It'll be
They make
okay."
helmets.
Parting comments. What do you got?
Thanks for having us. I mean, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We got to get you guys back on
We'll be
um,
back. We'll be back.
for some more perspectives because this has just been so good.
Let's
Cole,
do another
parting
one.
comments.
Thank you again for coming on. Thanks for the stories. Amy, you're a lot braver than I am chasing by yourself. And Aaron, when you write that book, I can't wait for a signed copy of it. So
Right on, man.
Yeah,
Thanks, Cole.
yeah.
Appreciate
Right
it.
on. Thank you
Thank you
guys.
guys so much. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Love
You
you,
guys too.
bye
Love
now.
you.
man. Holy cow, dude! I don't even know. I laughed. I literally had tears, like getting caught in the bottom of my glasses frames. Um, I just love Amy and Aaron so much,
Yeah,
and
such great people, and
they really are. And I mean, holy cow, what a legacy!
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. It's hard to give yourself credit for things, but I mean, what an ambassador of the sport they've raised, and they're great people themselves, and yeah, they're a racing family, and they say it takes a tribe. Well, it takes the Quintero family to win a Vegas to Reno. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good one. We got some more good ones coming up, but for now, we need to go. But we need to say thank you to our partners, Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com or on Instagram at Kicker Audio. Of course, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear. Find them on Facebook, bombereyewear.com, on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. All your recreational and safety eyewear needs. Of course, the Premix podcast. I would be nowhere without my man Cole and the Premix podcast. Find him on Instagram at the Premix Podcast at symbol ThePremixPodcast. I know we're short on time, so I'm trying to hurry. Of course, Kelsey Morale Film. She is going to have a heyday with this one, but
sorry.
holy cow, it's good. And it's going to be even better when you can see it because Amy's eye rolls and stuff when they're talking just doesn't translate. But man, oh man, it's going to be good when Kelsey Morale Film gets it produced and on our YouTube. Find her on Insta for all your videographer and editing needs at Kelsey Morale Film. Of course, Hey Keeks Marketing, all our new logos, templates, all our new episode announcements, throwback announcements, all compliments of Hey Keeks Marketing. Find her online, heykeeks.com, on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. If you need anything from websites to social media campaigns, just yell, "Hey, Geeks." With that, Cole, what do you got?
AMA District 38, we're back racing this weekend. Let's go.
Yeah, do the speech.
Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Thank you all so much. Special shout out to Aaron and Amy Quintero, Quintero Racing. Legends in my mind, legends for sure now. With that, we'll see you on the next one. Mad Dog out.